rather than trying to recreate the past and make sure there's something, a kind of homogeneous consistency year over year. We're just not interested in that. And that seems to more align with smaller domains here in America, but certainly a number of those overseas. And maybe it's part of coming from a deeper wine culture where you have a little more trust of what Sauvignon or what Chianti Classico or whatever it might be, what that region is or what it can give. And instead of trying to make it something maybe it's not, that you really lean into what it can be each year, and that will be different year over year, but still the totality will tell the story of that place over time. I like to use cooking analogies or metaphors in describing winemaking, especially to people who aren't that familiar with it, and in part because that's how I came to understand it. We talk about things like, what is ripeness? What various techniques might you want to do or not do in a winery? And back to the vineyard, when do you want to pick? What are you looking for? And there are all kinds of technical measures we can do. And those are very important, much like in cooking, final temperature of a cut of meat or whatnot. But ultimately, you might just use your finger and touch that steak on the grill and say, I think one more minute. And I've found over the years a similar mindset and ultimately touch, I think is easy for people to relate to if they've never made wine. We all have that idea of when should you take the cake or the cookies out of the oven, or when do you take the steak off the grill? Is it too soon, too late? And sometimes you're cutting into it and wondering like, oh, did I nail it? Or was it, again, too early or too late? We very much approach harvest that way. And there's been such a trend in wine, though it's certainly changing and has for a few years. But winemakers and growers would talk about hang time, long hang time. And I remember over the years thinking, I don't want a long grill time for that steak. Like I want an appropriate amount of time, but I want it to be, rare, maybe medium rare. Or if we're cooking noodles or asparagus, I want those things al dente. I want them done, but not too done.